Hello, my beautiful, gorgeous dancer, and welcome to another episode of More Than Dance. Today, we are discussing unlearning and reclaiming. First, I want to ask you to sit with yourself for a quick second and just think about a moment in time where you made a belief about yourself. And I want you to think about that. You can think way back into school when you were growing up. You can think about right now. You can think about a moment in your job. And the thought is, I did this, so therefore I'm this. And therefore I need to be this to be valid. I'm going to give you an example of something that I think will be easy to understand and something that I can reference. So I want you to go back to the day where you were told something. So in this case, I'm going to say you were told that you are a great helper. And that made you feel really good. And that gave you validation and it gave you purpose. And that purpose helped you to do other things because you then began to combine yourself with this attribute. So it became part of your identity. No longer were you helpful, you are a helper. So therefore, anytime anyone asked you to do something, even if you wanted to say no, you would say yes because you're a helper. Helpers say yes, helpers help. So I hope this concept or this example could get you even more in your own example. So just some other thoughts that could be it. Maybe you had a belief about yourself that you're a good dancer because you have a great body. And fast forward through life, maybe you had a baby. Maybe you went to college and maybe you went on medicines. Maybe there's different situations which got you out of the exact body that you had when you were 15. So therefore, you don't think that you're a great dancer anymore because you hold that belief that, oh, I'm a great dancer because I have a great body. So in a sense, our mind is making these correlations to things to give us validation to continue to do the thing that it is that we're doing. And without identifying with those things, then we are not able to do those things. So in the example of helping, if I'm not a helper, what would that mean about me? How would that change my identity? How would I be giving to the world? How would I even be a human? Let's talk it out. Someone asked me to do something. I really don't want to do it, nor do I have the time to do it. I'm not a helper. Oh, that's part of my identity, being a helper. So without that, who am I? So let me get into this mode of questioning. Who are we? What do we do? What if not helper? Who am I? Or if I don't have a great body, am I still a dancer? And I want to bring to you this thought of the word and. So it's not but or if I'm not, it's and. I am a helper and sometimes I don't want to help. I am a beautiful dancer when I have a body that is up to standards of my former self. And I'm a great dancer when I also am treating my body the way I'm treating it right now. Another little point on the body thing is we're women and we're not meant to stay in one shape our whole lives. Despite what society says, despite what our clothes say, we're meant to grow and adapt and to change. It's so acceptable when we're growing up. Oh, my so-and-so needs a bigger size. Oh, really? Oh, she's getting so big. It's such a cute thing when we're little. But when we're older, it's such a different thing. What's the big deal? Oh, so we just shift sizes. We just get different clothes. Yet we make it mean something about ourselves. Instead, it's actually just something that could already be evident before it's evident if we were choosing to recognize it. So if I was choosing right now to recognize my body's probably going to shift and shape and change, I'm recognizing it right now so that when it does, I'm not taken aback. I'm not surprised. Maybe I still get to do some mental work around it, because that's always there. And I'm still going to be a dancer when my body shifts and changes. I know that about myself. Maybe my abilities might shift. Maybe my center of balance might be a little different. And I also know that I'll be able to adapt and change and work through that because that's what I want to do. So how do I have my current identity as I'm this helper. That's part of me. That's who I am. I like to help. How do I be me without helping if I choose to say no? First, I get to unlearn. So if I wanted to unlearn this idea that I'm a helper, I'm going to tell myself that I am a helper, even when I'm not currently helping. I think it might be helpful also to think about other topics. So something that just came to mind was when I was in school, like I was always told like, oh, you're so loud. My teachers always used to say that. And I learned that that was a bad thing. I learned that it was not liked and that it was not good. And what came from that was dimming my light, dimming myself so that someone else could feel better. I was a kid though, so I didn't like consciously know that I was doing that. I just knew that like that's what was wanted. Ooh, better not laugh too loud because my teacher's going to yell at me, or ooh, better not do this because it feels uncomfortable when I get talked to. And I actually do remember like in terms of like taking up space, like I remember, oh, Chrissy, oh, she sticks her boobs out when she walks. Or I just have really great dancer posture, right? And what came from that was also dimming myself here. It's so easy to do. Look, just bring it down. Just bring I always tell my students, your light beam is here. I'm pointing to my chest for those who are listening, and it shines out here. You don't want your light beam to go down into the floor. You want it to go out into the audience. So I brought my light beam down on behalf of someone else's comment or someone else saying something to me. So to reclaim this is to, one, unlearn this. So how do I unlearn that behavior? One, it gets a little bit uncomfortable first. We get to sit with the discomfort of doing that thing despite what we think other people think about that thing. So, for example, in the idea of being loud, well, I need to be loud. I'm a teacher. I need to do that. I'm a DJ. I need to make sure my voice is heard. Otherwise, people won't hear the direction. Otherwise, people won't be able to hear my announcements. So I need to get comfortable with doing that thing despite part of my brain knowing, people might not like that. Getting comfortable knowing that there's going to be some people that don't like it and some people that do. And then to also understand that there's different situations for everything. So different situations, I need to be loud on stage with my body. My body needs to be bright and out, and my light beam needs to be shining. That's a given for any dancer. Also understanding that when people are threatened, they feel naturally the only way to be unthreatened is to project an insecurity. So perhaps they might think, I could never walk like that. I could never project myself with that energy. So they shouldn't either. And instead of looking at that quality, like how we talked about comparison, admiring that quality and bringing that quality into their own life, it's easier to say, oh, we shouldn't do it. Or it's easier to not teach. So for my teachers that said I was loud, it's easier for them to say, you're so loud versus, oh, right now we're practicing being quiet. Simple, tiny shift of a word, but it makes an impactful difference. And I'm sure you're thinking right now of something that you have gone through where something stuck and it became part of your identity. And maybe you're outgrowing that identity right now. Maybe you have this opportunity right now to reclaim it. So how do we reclaim that identity? How do we be us, knowing this information and also knowing that it's okay? Like I get to say to myself, well, yep, I'm loud, bitch. This is me. I got to be comfortable being uncomfortable in that moment. I got to get comfortable with maybe I was around the wrong people. Maybe I was in situations that didn't allow me to flourish. Have you ever seen the meme? It's like a meme video. And it's this girl and she's playing soccer. And the meme's something like, you don't suck. You're just playing the wrong sport. And the camera's on her and she's like playing soccer. And then all of a sudden she like, whatever, she hits the ball and then she runs away and she does like a round of back handspring or a back walkover or whatever. And it's so cute because obviously like she could probably still thrive in soccer and maybe she does, but where she is going to be most flourishing potentially is on the gymnastics floor. And where I am going to flourish most is on the dance floor and in front of crowds, being loud. So I needed to get in front of those crowds to learn how to validate myself based off of those things. So in other words, once I became a dance teacher, it was pretty easy seeing my students grow from the things that I was loudly saying to them. Watching couples at the end of weddings come up to me and be like, "You're the best DJ we've ever seen." Seeing people at the weddings also come up to me and say like, "Oh my gosh, like we've never seen like a DJ be so organized with like what they're saying." Like that meant something to me because that's me taking my unique qualities and putting them towards my passions, which is being in front of people, being in front of an audience. And for someone like this girl, she's probably, who knows? I bet you we could probably check on her, but I wonder if she's thriving on the gymnastics floor right now. Because when you allow yourself to be in the room that is made for you, you don't have to combat anything. So for the person who is the helper and they don't want to maybe say yes or feel like they need to say yes all the time, maybe they start learning that they can say no. I remember one time I said no to one of my friends. I was just kind of getting sick of like driving her around. And one time I was just like, "No, I don't want to." And it was such a hard thing to do. And I remember like practicing it in my head, like, okay, like you got this. You can say it. And then her reaction was like, "Oh, okay, no problem." So to know that like I could still be friends with this person and not have to like I didn't want to drive her home. I didn't want to go all the way out of my way. I just wanted to simply go out and just go home. And like to be able to stay in that friendship without having to do that, that was validation. That was me seeing that I could then validate myself like, "Oh, okay, I don't have to do that to be loved." So when you unlearn, you're actually releasing guilt. You're allowing yourself the possibility of saying no and not feeling bad about it. When you unlearn, you're establishing a new relationship with yourself, just like I did. I'm understanding that I'm meant to be loud, and that's just how it is. So I'm going between the two worlds of fully being myself and yet still thinking and maybe overanalyzing what I learned from the teacher that told me that, or the feeling that came up when I learned that thing. So when I reclaim, and this is where your true power comes in, it's rewriting a different story. It's allowing myself to fully be seen in the way that I want to be seen. So yeah, I'm loud. And that's how I need to be to do my job effectively. Or yeah, I don't want to help. I'm busy that weekend. And to just know that it's okay. Because one, I'm going to be okay. They're going to be okay. And I also don't want myself to have resentment. Have you ever felt resentment towards something where you just like didn't want to do it, but you did it anyway because you felt like you had to? Being in that space is just as bad. That doesn't feel good. It doesn't allow you to live from your own authentic self. So for you, whatever's preventing you from getting on the dance floor or doing something with what you want to do, is it a behavior that you learned that you can unlearn and reclaim? This idea of my body was a certain way when I danced. I couldn't possibly step on the dance floor right now without my body looking the way it did. I was flexible then. The me, the challenger, the teacher who is always going to challenge her students is going to say, "Oh, so you're saying that people who aren't flexible can't dance?" No. Have you ever found that doing the thing gets you to do the thing? Like I always find the students who have elevated minds coming in, they might not have the flexibility when they start. And just by doing the thing that they're making their body do, dance, gets them the thing that they want. So by dancing a lot, maybe they start off not so flexible. Doing that thing, they become flexible. So then we just turn ourselves around into excuses. So are you allowing yourself to keep this learned thought? Are you attaching to it so that you can keep a great excuse for yourself? And that's why we talk about excuses, because excuses are learned and you can unlearn an excuse and you can reclaim what it is that is. So if your excuse is, yeah, my body just doesn't do that. Why not? Oh, because it just, da, da, da. Well, we have modifications for dance. You can move it differently. When I'm doing this with my body, my knee hurts, so I do this instead. It's kind of like this, if I can do it, you can do it type thing. And it might be possible that the example hasn't been shown, so therefore we have no way to follow suit. And that's why I find it so important to show modifications and to show different types of dancers. I mean, if you look at my Instagram, there's tons of different types of dancers, tons of different types of bodies, tons of different types of skill level. And that's because dance isn't closed off to one type, just the same as walking is for everyone. There aren't just certain types of people who are walkers. There might be people that have an advantage to dance because they have turned out hips naturally, or they have a high arch. So things look a certain way on their bodies aesthetically. However, that doesn't mean that other people aren't ready to dance. So when you're thinking next about maybe doing something that you really want to do, I want you to think, can you release and unlearn and reclaim yourself as a dancer and allow yourself the mental freedom to do this thing? If you love this, it would mean the world to me if you could leave a 5-star written review. That's the only way this podcast can grow. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the dance floor.